Wednesday, spokesperson for the Atiku Abubakar presidential campaign in 2023, Daniel BWALA, paid a courtesy visit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House in Abuja, where he pledged his commitment to supporting the TINUBU administration. BWALA, who has been a strong critic of the TINUBU administration while speaking to journalists, said he visited the president to celebrate and congratulate him for leading the country at a difficult time, as well as commend him for the policy decisions that he has taken so far, which demonstrates that he is for the people of Nigeria.
So I came to congratulate him and then to tell him that I'm particularly excited about the recent policy decision he has taken to demonstrate that he's about the people and not just protecting his people. He took decisions against certain ministers who allegedly were, said to have committed infraction. The marked difference between him and the previous administration is that the previous administration may want to cover in order to avoid the backlash that the government is corrupt. But he is not about that. If this thing will touch on the poorest of the poor, humanitarian, that's the focus. And anybody who is caught wanting should not be covered. I told Mr. President I was thrilled by that decision. Yesterday again, he surprised us by the policy decision he has made to reduce the cost of governance. So it is like the unfolding. The most important thing in my communication with him was to look at his demeanor as he was talking to me about his passion for the country and the intention to make sure that he leads a country with integrity. But you must also admit that I have had my history with Mr. President. When I was in APC, before the primaries, I was practically his key spokesman as at the time. And I supported his cause because I believed in him. And so I use this opportunity today to even touch on some of those past. And I'm very happy that instead of the president getting actually offended, he gave me some life lesson, about the fact that in life, if you are going to be offended because people took decisions that didn't favor you, you would never be helpful to anybody in life, or you can never relate with people. And so that largeness of the heart to me is encouraging. And I am also here to say I am supporting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in achieving the objective of the problems we are in the country. I don't think that at this time of hunger and problems in the country, somebody should be here talking about party. And as per defection, God knows tomorrow. But I am fully committed to supporting the cause of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That has to be made clear.
Voila. Okay, he has gotten a lot of reactions. Well, you made a lot of good points there when he talked about President Tinubu's large heart, and he's had his history with with President Tinubu. But a lot of people are saying, Daniel BWALA, are you defecting or not? Just state it clear. And it's a big problem. It's a big indictment on the PDP at this point. Let me take Baron's tweet. He wrote, Atiku Abubakar and the PDP are very unserious duo. Daniel BWALA decamped from the APC to the PDP on Friday, July 28, 2023. 5 days later, on Tuesday, August 3rd, 2023, Atiku Abubakar appointed Daniel BWALA as his presidential campaign spokesman. Atiku said they work for Tinubu. Well, the Niger guy wrote, Atiku's circle compromised individuals like Daniel BWALA and Reno Omokori, who lacked genuine belief in his vision. Their allegiance rested solely on personal gain, leaving them scrambling for alternative opportunities as Atiku seized funding. They are now desperately looking for new gigs. A new PDP died the day they jettisoned their age-long tradition of zoning and allowed Peter Obi to leave the party. Of course, there were so many other tweets, but this was a funny one. This is from Chukse, who actually posted a picture of BWALA when he talked about the fact that even if you give Tinubu 30 years, nothing will work. I mean, this was weeks ago. But Daniel BWALA, to his claim, saying that, if you go to my Twitter account, you'll see that I've been supporting President Tinubu in the past few weeks. I went on his page. I'm not sure if I saw enough of the support. Dr. Basi, I'm smiling too much. Go ahead. I know you can't.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just to start by saying that should anybody be shocked that this is happening? And the person who said BWALA joined Atiku Abubakar in 2023, no. It was in August 2022.
2022, yeah.
He left the APC in 2022, joined the Atiku campaign, became one of the spokespersons, and now in January 2024, he's back to APC. Yeah. And he's now saying he has very sweet memory of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why did I say should anybody be shocked? This is standard behavior of Nigerian politicians.
Absolutely.
The average Nigerian politician will tell you that he's in politics because of what he can gain from it. And that 8 years will be too long a period to be out of the power loop. So if you see people hanging around a particular politician, if you don't win, they give you a little time, allow the matter in court to be settled, as the Supreme Court matter has been settled, and now it has suddenly occurred to BWALA as it occurred to, Saul on the road to Damascus. The epiphany of Daniel BWALA has pushed him to a point where he suddenly realized that it is better to support TINUBU. He's not even talking about Nigeria. He didn't say supporting Nigeria. He says he wants to go and support TINUBU. We have had it before. Yeah. Governors who say we want to go and support the president. So, tomorrow, if TINUBU doesn't pay him enough attention, he may go to Labour Party if he sees that he's Labour Party, and he won't be alone. Now that the matter of Supreme Court ruling has been settled, and a few weeks have passed, there will be more people. Oh, yes. There will be more visitation to go and see the CEC, and you will be shocked. Some of the people you will see there. And of course, Asiwaju Tinubu be a politician who welcome everybody with open hands. And that's why Mr. Bayo Ononuga announced also on his X account that Daniel BWALA is back to the Asiwaju fold. So it's only a matter of time before he goes back fully and he declares, and he may even assume a new role as spokesperson. Absolutely. For Tinubu, believing that everybody will have forgotten. Right. The only thing that Daniel BWALA needs to worry about is that the internet does not forget. Absolutely. And that's why somebody has brought out that post that only 2 weeks ago, he was still saying nothing will work. 30 years. Even if it's 30 years, nothing will work with Tinubu. But now, in less than 2 weeks, he has, or is it, in less than 2 weeks, he has changed his mind. Yeah. Now he's saying that President Tinubu is the best thing since the invention of toothpaste. Yeah. Now, Daniel BWALA used to appear regularly on this program. Yes. And he has one favorite proverb in Yoruba, even if it's Yoruba, it's not so smooth. Kokoro tinje fo inwe follower. Kokoro tinje fo inwe follower. He was always saying, the kokoro that
I know, I have read a tweet like that.
The kokoro that BWALA is talking about now. That insect that devours vegetables is now in his own pocket.
Kokoro tinje fo
So we now know where that insect is now. Yes. Maybe the insect has now moved to the Tinubu side. No. Whether they will allow the kokoro that is taken there to devour their own vegetables remains to be seen. Absolutely. But this is standard political behavior in Nigerian politics. The politics of opportunism, the politics of the, let me not use the popular phrase, alimentary politics. That sounds a bit elegant. Yes. But the meaning is
But he commended the president for his policies and the swift action, that he took to fire some of the ministers.
There will be more commendations.
But he did right. We commend Tinubu for that. Meanwhile, a coalition of several civil society groups has condemned calls for the sack of the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, concerning his being linked to the 438 million naira contract awarded by the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, to a company he co-founded and is a significant shareholder. The group argues that the minister has shown enough evidence that he is innocent of the allegations and should be allowed to continue his innovations in the Ministry of Interior.
It is a well-known fact that the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, Honorable Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has repeatedly exonerated himself, providing evidence from any involvement in the controversial 438 million contract scandal related to the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Honorable Betta Edu. Let us state, the Minister, Honorable Tunji-Ojo, presented a certified document from the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, confirming his resignation from the company 5 years ago. He has no business with the said company. Absolutely no business, because he's not involved in the day-to-day running of the company. He also does not pursue jobs for the company, does not bid for the company, and is not a signatory to the company's account.
All right, Ayo, we took this story yesterday. I mean, this is the group. Whether they are paid or not, they are calling, they are standing behind Tunji Ojo at this point. But meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has called for everyone culpable in the Beta Edu scandal to be brought to book. Taking to social media, Peter Obi, in a post on X, said Beta Edu's suspension is a welcome development and called for a comprehensive investigation. His tweet reads in part, "It is insensitive for those entrusted with funds for public welfare to literally steal from the poor. I'd like to add my voice with most Nigerians concerned about accountability in government and judicious use of public funds. I welcome the suspension of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Ms. Beta Edu, and subsequent directives for her investigation. While the action of the government is a welcome development, the investigation must be comprehensive so that all those culpable are brought to book." I mean, I do align myself with Peter Obi's tweet because he has said all those culpable, because it is money for the poor. Yesterday, we condemned in strong terms Tunji Ojo's involvement in this whole transaction. Yeah. He is the owner of a company that received funds from this scandal by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. And I do think that he should also do the right thing by stepping aside.
Absolutely. So the group is called the Civil Society for Good Governance, CSGGG. And you would see anything play out in Nigerian politics. No matter what anyone has done, you would see people stand up for them, and you see others who condemn their actions. It is their right, they are able to do it, but it just again speaks to their credibility and integrity, and then the Nigerians have the opportunity to judge as to whether they want to take them seriously or not. The basis for which they're supporting him, very ridiculous, and it's interesting because one of the things that they said on their website is that they are there to improve service delivery, to inform the people, to improve knowledge that guarantees standards in service delivery. And this doesn't demonstrate what they aim to do in terms of improving knowledge. Because what they've demonstrated is actually ignorance in this matter, saying that, because it's just like childhood talk. So let's leave that. But I'll go to what Mr. Peter Obi said, and which is very correct. And this is what he's echoing the calls by a number of people. Dr. Beta Edu didn't act in isolation, and if this situation is going to be used as a deterrent for future occurrences, then there must be all the people who were involved in this must be brought in to be questioned, and whoever is found culpable, even including, I said this when this news broke, the Accountant General of the Federation. Yes, she quickly extricated herself and responsibility, saying that she'd given advice I shouldn't have. I said that, why wasn't it reported? Why wasn't a whistle blown around this? You can't just say that I'm not there. But what did you do to ensure that the monies that was requested wouldn't go through? So those are some of the questions, and people have raised a few questions around that. They also talk about the fact that even civil service, the directors, the permanent secretary, the staff members also be brought in for questioning. Absolutely. And if found guilty, she shouldn't be the only one who should take the fall. Yes. And then goes back again to Mr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo. As much as we expressed our pleasure in what he had done and commendation for the great work he's done, but we said that due process must be followed. The law is the law. If he's found culpable, unfortunately, he also, as a deterrent and a demonstration of a strong commitment to the fight against anti-corruption, must also face the consequences of his action. No one is saying he's guilty yet until the investigation is concluded. What we're saying is that if anyone, irrespective, because nobody is above the law. That has been established. If anyone is found culpable, it must be done. Now, let me just say a little thing about BWALA, because I've just been laughing. And Dr. Mati, I don't know what to say. But the truth is that beyond him saying that, beyond that 30-year thing, he said that people have been suffering since this administration started. Yes. However, Oji, you would notice that post-inauguration, May 29, his language changed to more of offering advice to this administration. So perhaps his body language had given an indication to the fact that something was about to happen. A few days ago, Chief Donye Kukbe too said that due to ideological differences, he was going to resign from the Labour Party. They are free to move around. But what I think we should also note, even though we laugh about this, is that it should also speak to the integrity of these men. Yes, this is business as usual in Nigerian politics. But if we are looking to change the game in Nigerian politics, we must also demand better and more from these people. He spoke here a number of times, bringing down TINUBU's manifesto, saying that he was dead on arrival, saying they should back Atiku. And then a few weeks later, he's now coming to say that now TINUBU is the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah. He speaks a lot. And this is the kind of politics we're playing. They were not serious yet in Nigeria.
All right, Dr. Bati, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo.
Generally, this is part of the hazard, that we face as media people. We give our platforms to all kinds of persons. We promote all kinds of persons. We carry microphone, we put in the mouths of people who, may not even know what they are talking about. But of course, we're in the business of content. So we listen to all sorts, including those who are intelligent and those who are dumb. Now, which is where am I going? It's very easy in this country to rent a crowd.
Yes.
Some people now are sounding like a rented crowd, saying Olubunmi Ojo should be allowed to continue his work. I've also had some people reading ethnic statements saying Better Edu is our daughter, give her another chance.
Niger Delta.
Look, people, can't they use their brains? This is not about ethnicity.
Yeah.
If you are given a position of trust, you must also be accountable in that position, which was the point Dr. Ezekwesili was making when we spoke to her about accountability. It's not about your religion, it's not about your ethnicity. And yesterday we talked about the relevant laws, okay? The procurement laws, the code of conduct law, sections 5 and 6 thereof. We talked about all of that. People are in a fiduciary position. They have fiduciary responsibilities. It's not a question of where they come from, which is why I agree with the points made by Mr. Peter Obi, that the suspension of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs is in order, and that it is a big scandal, that at the same time that Better Edu is being investigated, and the minister who was there before her is also being investigated. The person in charge of NSIP. And he made the point that let not the impression be created that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs was created so that people can use it as a conduit pipe.
Yes.
And then you say you are doing poverty alleviation, calling the name of the poor in vain. The same argument made by Mr. Peter Obi and others applies also to Olubunmi Ojo. What is all this nonsense about he's doing a great work? He's doing no, that's nonsense.
Absolutely.
The issue is that if there is an infraction, it should be established.
Right.
And then talking about the people who put microphone in their mouths. I was looking at that man that was talking. The level of ignorance coming out of his mouth. Sometimes I look at people and say, some of these people, who are they?
He was on Newsnight.
Do they have children at home? Do they have wives at home? Look, let him be educated.
Yeah.
What he was saying, that he's not running the company day to day, he may have funded the company. That's absolute nonsense.
Right.
There's something in company law called lifting of the veil. And the locus classicus here is Solomon versus Solomon. Every elementary sophomoric student of law will know Solomon versus Solomon. What it means is that if you use your company in one way or the other to do any kind of fraudulent activity, the investigators, the law, will lift the veil.
Absolutely.
You cannot put the veil and say, I'm not involved in day-to-day running. I'm just a shareholder.
Right.
No, the veil has been lifted.
Absolutely.
What we will now say is that the due process of law must be followed.
Absolutely.
Accountability must be established. Yeah. And I repeat what I said yesterday. President Tinubu must not take the bullet for any of his appointees.
Absolutely. And I would like to leave off by giving this example of Bath Naji. I believe he was appointed power minister during President Goodluck Jonathan's tenure. And, he was found that he had connections with some electricity company that were bidding at the time. And in 2012, he had even resigned his position before he became minister. In 2012, they found out that he had that connection and he was forced to resign. So it is very important that people just accept this in a dignified way. I think Olubunmi Ojo should do the credible thing and step aside.